Yaakov's encounter with Esav and arriving safely into the land of Israel from the house of Lavan, dealing with Esav on the road, he arrives in the area of Shechem. He buys a piece of land, and on that piece of land it says, "Vayatzev sham mizbeach, vayikra lo El Elohei Yisrael." There he erected a mizbeach, and he called it El Elohei Yisrael, or he called El Elohei Yisrael. The Meforshim ask a question. It always doesn't mean to say that Yaakov is referring to the mizbeach as a god, but rather what it means to say, as Rashi explains, is that he's attaching the God's name to the mizbeach in order to glorify the miracles which have occurred to him throughout his exile in the home of Lavan, as well as his encounter with Esav, and associating all that which had happened to him to God, so that he and his offspring will see the mizbeach and recall all those wonderful nisim that occurred to him. Similarly, Moshe Rabbeinu, after the Bnei Israel defeat the Amalek, when leaving Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu erects a mizbeach, v'yikra shemo Hashem Nisi. He calls it Hashem is my nes, my banner, or my miracle. And similarly, the Meforshim explain, Rashi, that Moshe Rabbeinu is attaching the name of God to the mizbeach in order so that when the Bnei Israel will see the mizbeach, we're reminded of the miracles that that brought the salvation in the victory of the war. The Ramban takes this a step further, and he says that because of this concept of attaching God's name to specific places, to specific events, it is also the custom of the Jewish people to attach the name of God to names of their children. For instance, he brings Tzuriel, God who is my rock, Tzuri Shakai. Similarly, he says that he brings a pasuk from the Nevi'im, which describes that in the time of the Mashiach will be referred to as Hashem Tzidkenu, and that Yerushalayim will be called Hashem Shama, God is there. All these names which indicate God's presence, not only in the place, but also in the individual. Similarly, angels as of Gavriel and Mikael, which means who is like God. What the Ramban is saying is that this custom to attach the name of God to places and to objects to a mizbeach evolved also into attaching God's name into names. Besides, this idea of attaching, and many people name their children as such with God's name incorporated within the child's name. We also should attach in our own lives events that occur to us, whether they be on a national level or on an individual level. We should attach God's name to it and recognize that it's God's hand that is guiding everything that occurs to us, whether for better or for worse. But it's God's hand that is guiding the way. For instance, in this past war, which Israel battled in the outskirts in Gaza, there were many close calls. There were many close calls of rockets which almost or coincidentally did not harm any individuals, where they could have injured many hundreds. And we can attribute it to coincidence and to perhaps bad aim, but certainly we should recognize and attach Hashem's name to the events and recognize that it's Hashem's miracles and His guiding hands in our lives, not only on a national level, but also on an individual level.